Hello again, this is Alex with MasterChartsTrading.com, and this is market recap for Friday, August 10, 2018. First of all, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. This will truly mean a lot to me because I know you're watching and actually are possibly getting some help from this. So do hit the like button. If you have any comments, also make them below. As usual, we will look at stocks. August and September are somewhat weak for stocks, but are pretty good for bonds historically. We'll look at utilities, telecom. I think overall the stock market is definitely overdue for a pullback. Bonds could be breaking out, could be bottoming, and lots of forex action, lots of new lows for the move. Euro, pound, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, and many of the other lesser currencies make a new low for the move versus the US dollar. And obviously this is pressuring the precious metals, so we'll look at gold miners as they make new 2-year lows. And then we'll look at oil and natural gas, and we'll finish off with cryptos as usual. So first let me look at the seasonality of S&P 500, and it's a nifty tool. You can go to StockCharts.com, free tools, look for a seasonality tool, and you can put in a symbol. Here's SPX, S&P 500, and we can change the slider here, so that's 20 years worth of data, and you can move them around. But overall you can see that August and September, you can see where I'm hovering, are usually bad for the S&P 500, for the gains. So this chart shows percent of months in which S&P closed higher than it opened. And in this case, this is the opposite. We're going to see, we're potentially going to see a lower close because it looks like that gain was actually a loss. So let's look at S&P 500. First of all, ETF SPY. So I don't think we made fresh high, but let's look at S&P 500 futures. Yeah, I don't think a new high was made. So the high was still from the January of 2018 here, but very close. Now I see a pullback. That pullback could continue lower. I think we're kind of overdue for a bit of a pullback, and I would expect a normal pullback, something similar to what happened in June of this year. We're going to see a pullback, possibly going to see a pullback towards this blue line, which is currently at 27.05. There's also a possibility that this pullback will never materialize and we just simply continue breaking higher. The situation currently is a bit confusing due to the way currencies are acting. So dollar is very strong. You can see a breakout for the dollar. This is pressuring pretty much all other currencies, and we could look at the stock markets of various countries, which we'll look later on. So once again, August, September are traditionally weak for the months, and we're seeing some selling for stocks at as they approach all-time highs. So normal pullback would be about 5%, I think, maybe less. But again, I would be looking to enter on the long side, in other words, buy this chart currently around 269. Let's continue to utilities. So utilities, XLU, are approaching these breakout levels. By the way, this these lines here are from my indicators that are being calculated. You can find out more about them at MasterChartsTrading.com, and I can share this for indicator lines on your chart if you have a TradingView account. So do ask me about that. So currently I'm seeing a potential rejection depending on which data set you use. So for example, here's XLU, and we can see a couple of rejections here. If we were to use an actual average, Dow Jones utility average, then the breakout may have already occurred, and there it is on the 6th of August 2018, this year, right there. So, and then there is another one, utility fund, which is RYU, which is equal weight utility. So here the breakout, according to this chart, the breakout occurred even earlier, over a month ago, on the 3rd of July rather, I'm sorry. So depending on who you believe, I guess, but it does look like utilities are attempting to break out. So this is most likely happening because TLT, the treasuries, the long-dated treasuries, have found support. Notice where the support was found, around the yellow support resistance lines here. We did short TLT on the 20th of July, and here's that trade TBT. So I sent an alert to my subscribers on the 20th, and this was a nice move already. You know, if you are nimble, you can get 4% move right there. Notice that we basically gave the entire gains back, and now we're back at this initial levels. So for TLT, this is looking potentially like a bottom in action. It's possible, and now we will need to watch for a breakout, continuation higher, and watch for a breakout above 124.5 here. The other funds, for example LQD, also is doing something of similar nature. IEF, which is a 10-year treasuries, also something of similar nature. Overall bond market AGG kind of attempting to bottom. But I think the most interesting action occurred in Eurobond. So this looks like a bullish chart, and I'm already sent this by the bond a few days ago. I actually posted it on the stock charts and Facebook, my stock charts and Facebook account, and it looks like it's breaking higher. So maybe there is a flight to safety of some sort. You can see TLT. I was expecting, for an outright bearish security, I was expecting a strong move lower. But notice that it bottomed on the 1st of August here. So now it's an important test of this resistance at 121. I think if we clear that, we could easily break out. In fact, here is the treasury yield, the 30-year treasury yield. So on this chart, you can see that the treasury yields attempted to move higher. In other words, bonds moved lower, found resistance exactly at the this green line, which is an indicator line from MasterChartsTrading.com, and then moved back. So right now we're trading below this blue support resistance line, and the way I look at it, if the interest yield treasury yield drops another 4% or so, we could easily continue lower from here. In other words, bonds would continue higher. So we will be watching for that exact breakout. Here's that same picture, but on TLT. For TLT, we'll need to travel another 2.78% to about 124.5 level for the trend to change to a bull market. So I wonder what's happening with this security, TLT, bonds in general. I think we might be bottoming. And for European bonds, I can see actually a breakout higher. Which kind of makes sense because stocks in Europe have been under pressure. And we'll get there in a second again. Okay, so telecom. Here's IYZ. It's a telecommunications ETF. Not a very big ETF, but it's very, kind of interesting price action here. Notice the price is bouncing off of the resistance here at 28.68. Again, this indicator lines, you can find out more about them at MasterChartsTrading.com. But if this ETF moves another, how much is it in here? About 5% or so, then I would personally be very interested in buying this security as well. In fact, I personally own Verizon, and there's my position. I entered at 50.75. It moved in my favor. I went ahead and I sold half here, and I moved my stop to entry. But it's probably gonna go higher, especially if IYZ continues higher from here. Here's one that was kind of in the news recently, T-Mobile. And if I was trading, I don't really, I cannot trade every single stock out there. There's many hundreds of thousands of stocks. But the way I think is this. So before the recent event, for example, here is an event, June, July of this year, on the 16th of July of this year, there was an attempted breakout here for the T-Mobile. It failed. Then a few days later, we see a pullback, and then a breakout right there on the 2nd of August. So if I was trading it, I would just buy it right there, buy on the breakout. So around like 62.15 or so. And then notice that the next couple of days it would have gone in our favor. And this was about almost 7% gain. So, I'm looking at the telecommunications sector, and there possibly is bottoming too. Yeah, so we'll be, we'll watch for a breakout above $30 here. All right, let's continue. So, briefly, I want to touch on the foreign stock markets. Euro versus US dollar. You can see we had a big drop here. But I'll get to Forex in a while, but I wanted to show the European stocks. Here is European stocks proxy, VGK. Almost a perfect touch here of this indicator line, of my indicator lines, on the 31st of July, and a nice move lower towards fresh lows. So European equities under pressure. Japanese EWG also not as much, but also under pressure. Nice big gap here. Emerging markets are even worse off, so you can see a big gap, relatively big gap, 2.5, almost to 2% and approaching the lows that were set in June. Within the emerging markets, China, not too bad. ASHR, you can see the mainland Chinese equities already were under strong pressure, and you can see aggressive shorts were rewarded, and I talked about it last time. Let me see. Okay, so we got Japan, Europe. Some of the pretty wild action happened in Turkey. Turkish lira pretty much collapsed, and you can see the same for the Turkish stock market. Big drop, 14.5% in one day. Is that right? That's a big drop. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, and you can see aggressive shorts again were rewarded, and those are very good places to enter, you know, at my indicator lines levels. They're available for you. So overall, stock markets, I mean, Canada looks okay. Here's EWC. Canada looks pretty decent. Not very decisive, but at the very least not outright bearish. EWW, which is Mexico, kind of confusing. I thought we had a breakout here on the 7th, but then we had a big selling on Friday. Not very convincing again, so I would probably just avoid most other stock markets except for United States currently. We'll see what happens later on. Okay, let's start on the Forex overview. So first of all, DXY. This is a bullish chart. The breakout, in my opinion, occurred on the 28th of May 2018. I spoke about it during my videos. You can basically buy the breakout with a stop below this red line. Again, you can find out more about these lines at MasterChartsTrading.com, and I can share them with you. But overall, I would have started buying it basically around 94.30 or so, and you can see a nice move higher, and you would have been already rewarded really handsomely for holding. This is just basically a consolidation period. Let's look at the individual currencies. Here's euro versus US dollar. Basically, this line here, I put it in when I sent, well, I didn't send, I talked about it during one of my videos or several previous videos. On the 11th of July, here's a decent opportunity to short. Ideal opportunity to short would have been on either the 1st of June right there, or even as early as 28th of May, and again with a stop above the blue line. So this is a very nice, beautiful 270 pip move in your favor if you shorted it here or earlier in the year. British pound also at new lows, and very similar picture. Here is that bearish breakdown on the 29th of May 2018, shallow bounce, and I would have shorted on the 14th of June 2018. And here you just basically hold through this minor up and down with a stop above the blue line once again, and now you have a very nice move in your favor, so long as you hold through the various ups and downs. So this is a 530 pip move in your favor. Okay, US dollar versus Canadian dollar. US dollar is bullish here, Canadian dollar is bearish. I was looking for it to bottom around 1.28893, which is a blue indicator line here. It never even gotten that far, and think it already is rallying higher. US dollar versus Japanese yen. This is also looking bullish, but I was actually kind of thinking about buying it here myself because it looks like nice. I mean, right there, probably if you bought it exactly at the blue line, you could have made decent money. You know, about some pips, 117 pips or so. If you were pretty nimble. Right now, looks like we're dropping below this blue line. I want to see a little bit more bottom in action, and potentially I wanted to go in and buy this. In other words, I want to buy the dollar with the Japanese yen. But many currencies, Australian dollar, fresh low for the move, New Zealand dollar, big move and fresh low for the move. There's the bearish break right there on the 30th of April. So if you shorted it there, there's your let me see, 467 pip move. Just sit through it basically. So Australian dollar, US dollar, CHF, which is a Swiss franc. Yeah, it's moving higher, but you know the dollar is bullish here again. Let me see what else. Swedish krona, USD. Actually, here's what's this? US dollar. Is that Indian rupee? Yeah, Indian rupee. Also at fresh highs here. US dollar versus Swedish krona, fresh highs. US dollar versus Norwegian krona, fresh high for the dollar. US dollar versus South African rand, fresh high. So, and you know, US dollar versus ruble, fresh high. And notice that I actually put this arrow there on the 11th of May. So you have a nice move there. If you can trade the ruble, I don't think you can trade it in the United States that well. But here's a winner, US dollar versus TRY, Turkish lira. It's just a killer chart. Occasionally they happen, they don't happen that often, but they do occasionally happen. So let's just backtrack a little bit and I'll show you my thinking about how I even determine if I want to be buying, selling, etc. Alright, so here I wanted to show an example of how to think about trend trading, how to approach trend trading, how to set a trend, and then how to trade with the trend. So in order for this to happen easier for you, I would highly recommend you get my indicators. Go to MasterChartsTrading.com and then look for a sign up link. Let me show it to you. So MasterCharts Trading, alerts and indicators, and then sign up. Then I can share these indicators with you. So here we're in December 2017. US dollar versus Turkish lira, so it's USD over TRY. You can see that we're approaching highs here for the move. So in other words, the US dollar is bullish versus the TRY. So because this particular currency pair, USD over TRY, is moving higher. So here what I would be looking for, I would be looking for number one, how do I set a trend? I set the trend if there was a close above the blue line and there was not yet a close below at least the red line or possibly the yellow line. That means that we're in an uptrend and we're going to continue looking for buying opportunities. Because we're in an uptrend, we want to be buying for it to go up. We don't want to be shorting for it to go down. So here, US dollar versus TRY, what I would be looking for, I would be looking for an opportunity somewhere around the blue line. I personally prefer deeper pullbacks. Some people are okay with buying, you know, high up here and then hope for a move higher. I like a little bit deeper pullback because it gives me more, less risk rather, because I can put my buy order at the blue line and a stop on close below this red line. So once again, find out about those indicators. So we advance and we continue sitting and waiting for an opportunity, and again I'll be looking to buy around the blue line. And here's that opportunity. Notice that we had a touch of the blue line, but the close was above, so probably I'll just start buying here with a stop below the blue indicator line. So once again, you will need to calculate your position correctly. So we advance again, remember that our stop is below the red line, and we're basically sitting. There's another couple of opportunities. So I personally like to go long on close above the lines and go short on close below the lines. And here basically we're already seeing a profitable position, provided you're nimble. But you know, even here or here, there were opportunities to buy the US dollar using Turkish lira. And here we can see already the position is going in our favor on the 14th of March 2018. And then there's a breakout that continues. We're basically holding our position, continue, and no end in sight for this uptrend. It just keeps going and going. And then I thought we were done here in May of 2018 of this year, and we pulled back, but notice that that was just a prelude before a new move higher unfolded just a few days ago, really. Here's an enormous move higher. So if we bought it back here back in January, February 2018, basically we would be buying around the blue line and doing nothing but just hold this currency pair. Potentially we could make as much as 74% because of this collapse. Obviously this doesn't happen all the time, and it doesn't happen in every single currency pair, but this happened here, and the indicators called this price action quite well. So overall, you need to do two things at the very least. One thing is you need to know, are you going to be buying or selling? Are we on an uptrend or a downtrend? And as long as the indicators, as long as the price has closed above the blue line, has not yet closed below this red or even the yellow line, then we're going to stay in an uptrend, and we're going to continue looking for buying opportunities. And then the second thing is you need to know where do you want to buy. And me personally, I prefer to buy around the blue line if I'm buying. If I'm selling, I prefer to sell around the red line or short around the red line. And then eventually, once you figured out do I want to be buying or selling, in other words, are we in an uptrend or a downtrend, we found where we're going to be buying. Now we need to know how many units, currency units, and that can be calculated using the interface for your brokerage. Alright, so the dollar DXY breaking out, moving higher, making a fresh high for the move. XAU USD, gold versus US dollar, so making a close to fresh lows for the move. Makes perfect sense again. If the dollar, the lower part of this equation, XAU over USD, is getting stronger, it's pulling this currency pair lower. This is you know, obviously bearish for gold. The strong dollar is bearish for gold. Where would I short gold? I would short gold on a bounce. Personally, I would like to see a bounce to 1264 currently. For GLD, that would be 120. We actually went ahead and we shorted GDX. I sent an alert a little late. I was hoping for at least a bounce. I sent an alert at 2237 right there on the 13th of July, but the price just ran away and it continued to collapse. And Friday we just made a new low here. So overall bearish charts. gold miners I would avoid for now, for a foreseeable future. Alright, let's look at oil. Here's US oil. I think a pullback to 64 is could still happen. That would be like an ideal thing. CL1 exclamation point. Yeah, about 64 bucks I think would be a good opportunity to look for an entry. Natural gas, NG1 exclamation point. I'm getting ready myself to look to go ahead and enter on the short side here. The selling didn't really, like, I don't feel like the selling has begun yet, because this is a dodgy hammer. That means there were some buyers that stepped in by the end of the session. So I would be looking for something of this nature or this nature, you know, strong selling basically. Not yet, so we may still see a slight move higher, but again, this is for now a bearish security, should be shorted. Alright, BTC, USD. So let's continue to cryptocurrencies. Here's Bitcoin, nice, bearish again, nice move lower, another 22% move lower from the recent aggressive short levels. Not a big fan, but you know, went from 8,000 to 6,000, so that's a almost 25% drop from a recent good opportunity to short. Bearish, I would definitely not do any kind of investing, quote unquote. Please do not invest in this stuff. It's a terrible misnomer. Right, Ethereum, ETH USD, same basic premise. It's a bearish instrument and it should be shorted. So here another aggressive short opportunity with a 35% gain in your favor. You know, the bearish break was a while back basically. There's the bearish break on the 14th of March 2018. And Litecoin, yeah, same basic premise. I mean, if you like to do aggressive trading, then you were just in luck because opportunity was beautiful. And if you shorted at the aggressive levels on the 12th of June, right there, then you would have had by now 45% gain. So I got Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and there's EOS. There's so many of them, and I don't really follow every single one. But yes, here are a few opportunities. So trend change occurred on the 22nd of June. Pullback, short here. Another pullback, short here. And looking at around 42% gain following this recent collapse of this security. Please head over to MasterChartsTrading.com, click on alerts and indicators, and then sign up for one of the services. The prices will be changing and the adjustments will likely be higher. However, I am planning to launch another service, possibly a higher level service, where the clients will be able to specify which stocks they would like to follow, and there will be like a custom alerts. Now currently I'm charging $34.95 monthly for this service. With the custom component, this could push into the maybe $70 to $100 area per month. But you will get a custom report and possibly custom alerts as well. Still working on it. I'm not 100% how this will work. But if you head over to MasterCharts Trading, find the sign up link and sign up, then you will definitely be made aware of this. Alright, that's it for this week's recap. If you have any comments, questions, and of course if you want to share this video with others, please do so. Otherwise, I'm hoping to talk to you later next week. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.